effing up your shoulders, okay? In the last day alone, I don't know how many people have come and talked to me about their shoulder issues. So today, we're gonna talk about why those shoulder issues manifest, my own personal history with shoulder problems and how to resolve them. And not only that, but how to build real strength, skill, and sustainability for life, which includes your shoulders. My name is Weiland. I'm the co-founder of Pac-Rimian Athletics and the creator of Powerbatics. And that's the word that we use for the 5 elements of body weight, strength, and skill that actually are really demanding on the shoulders and require insane levels of flexibility, mobility, and strength. And that includes things like hand balancing, ninja strength, free run, circ, and power moves. And so as we dive into training, I need you to promise me something, all right? I'm gonna be showing you a lot of really cool training tactics that you'll be able to take away with you and a lot of things that'll take you to the next level. And it's all gonna tie together into some really slick moves. But I need you to promise me no falls, flops, or face plants, all right? The other thing is this, and this is a really important one, and I've seen this time and time again. A lot of people make the mistake of confusing videos and social media with an actual mentor and instruction. And oftentimes when that occurs, people end up hurt, which is what we're talking about today, stuck, frustrated because they're not getting anywhere, and in some cases, some injuries. And I don't want that for you, so don't make that mistake, all right? So we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna show you some things. We're gonna start off. My first one here is my favorite, just a dowel and weight, and this is 10 pounds, okay? And I'm gonna show you what this exercise is in just a second. But the reason for this exercise is to counteract a lot of the things that people are doing wrong on a daily basis or not doing enough of or any at all, okay? So what are people doing too much of, all right? Most times it's just mainstream methods. There's things like push-ups, bench press, rock climbing without another balancing activity. I don't mean balance, I mean something that counterbalances that whole discipline of movement. So a lot of these things will come in and start to kind of model and form the body into a position and situation that isn't ideal. There's a whole group that I worked with from a military youth academy, and they were doing so many push-ups that they could barely put their hands over their head. They were so bound up, had little range of motion, they could barely move. And they were just kids. And we worked with them for like 3 or 4 weeks. And in that time, I think they gained something like 58% or 53% more flexibility, 50-something% more strength. And we'll talk about why that is in a minute. But the issue was the repetitive nature of their training, doing the same thing over and over and over again, okay? Same thing happened to me. Too much bench press, my shoulder, it would always like flare up. Like you might have been there working up the amount of weight and doing the 5x5s or the pyramid structures and all that. And then it's like, okay, when's the shoulder gonna start feeling it, you know? And then you have to go through all that. The fact is that like bench press is its own skill and you can master that and you can continue building on that. But you guys know, if you watch this channel, I talk a lot of trash about weightlifting because really the only thing that weightlifting is good for is weightlifting. Think about that for a second. I'll say that again. The only thing that weightlifting is good for is weightlifting. And I didn't see hardly any carryover at all into real athleticism, strength, skill, and all that stuff. That's a whole different conversation, but what I'm talking about is the redundant mainstream methods being utilized that bind things up. Another example here, someone that's trained with us for a long time, went into police academy, and within a week or two already, because of all the push-ups and all of the mainstream kind of training, flaring things up, causing all kinds of problems. We hear that constantly from military people that we work with. Same repetitive motions over and over and over again, super tight. Then there's a shoulder rupture and all these other things, okay? So I'm gonna come back to our very basic equipment. And you know, as you'll see, the equipment that I use is very simple. A couple of little tools, something to hang from, and the floor. That's really it. This is my go-to for shoulder exercise, shoulder training, shoulder warm up, all of it like this. Whatever I'm doing, if I'm gonna do hand balancing, if I'm gonna do tumbling, if we're gonna do power moves, it's this. This is just 10 pounds. You could build up to higher weights than that as well. And I'd challenge you, skip the weightlifting and give that a try, okay? We're also gonna take a look at another little tool here, just a basic simple band. And this is something that I did to rehab my whole arm. My whole side was completely atrophied all the way down. My arm was like a twig. after I tore my bicep, and I had surgery, and they told me it was gonna take like 18 months or 2 years to come back fully. Within 4 months, I already had muscle ups back and handstands. 6 months, I was doing flares. And then I think at 8 or 9 months, I was doing roll-ups on the silks. I'll walk you guys through a little bit of that. Now, a lot of people think that their pain manifests from just the shoulder, but when it's not really the deltoid at all. It could be the bicep tendon at the top that attaches there. It could be the lat on the underneath side. It could be any number of the small muscles like the infraspinatus, the teres, anything in there could make it feel like shoulder pain. And that's why I say that everybody's in a unique situation. You probably noticed that I didn't mention any sets or rep numbers for the first training tool because it's gonna be unique to your situation. I wouldn't wanna give you something that wouldn't work. So like, let's say it's a rock climber that's have shoulder issues versus, let's say a person that just had rotator cuff surgery like Venny, and Venny was back 10 weeks later with a 1 minute long handstand, which is pretty cool, versus someone that has never trained and now they're jumping into say CrossFit and they get hurt. Every situation is gonna be different. Okay. The main point here is high volume and low force is ideal for rebuilding the shoulder and really any joint in your body. Okay. And you'll notice that I'm going around the clock like this, just showing you the range of motion. All right. So these pulses, I talk about pulses in another video, but pulses are really good. And we're not talking about like 10 or 15 reps. We're talking about like hundreds. All right, but again, those sets and reps will be unique to you. Also, large circles, all right? And everything that I'm doing here can be done backwards as well. Okay, so imagine the band is connected to the front side and I'm pulling it this way. I'm doing that circle this way, all right? And then also, the bent arm work like this. Okay, this way. And all of these different angles. All of these different angles. That's just the beginning. That's just the tip of the iceberg on this stuff. This is just starting to build good health. These things could be used as quick for just warm up and mobility. Are they gonna help a situation improve? Definitely. Are they gonna prepare you for high level athleticism? No. Are they gonna even prepare you for daily life? No. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But just those two things alone can help in a lot of ways. All right, so now we're gonna go into even deeper waters on this. So the main point for the first section is that we need to use things that are outside of the mainstream, things that you're probably not utilizing, things in high volume, things that are stretching your body and your mind to different levels. Now, the point here that I want to make is that you should be 3 times stronger than you need to be for any skill that you want to do. Yeah! Which is going to make you like 10 times stronger than just for daily life. Here's what I mean. Who is going to be the person that has shoulder pain? Is it going to be the person that can do a human flag or the person that can't? Now, I just mean a regular human flag. There's this guy I know that was doing a human flag that had literally a person standing on his side and he was trying to show off and something happened. I just mean a regular human flag, the same as I'm able to stand here and talk. That's how easy a human flag should be. Or a front walkover or back walkover. Who's going to be the person that has shoulder pain there? The person that can do the back walkover or the person that can't? The person who's sustaining that level of strength and skill or the person who's not? This section, we're going to talk about becoming 3 times stronger than you need to be for any skill that you want to do and 10 times stronger than you need to be for regular life. And so the first thing is taking a look at our hanging. We should be able to hang. And not only that, but hang in any direction, being able to twist our hands, being able to hang from one hand, being able to hold our body in different positions, okay? And just have that mobility in our shoulders that these kinds of motions don't bother us. It shouldn't be an impact to swing and to hang from one arm or both arms, all right? And so that's part of becoming stronger than you need to be, just hanging. And we should also be 3 times stronger for any skills that we want to do and 10 times stronger than any part of our lifestyle that we need to be in terms of our pushing strength. Now we should be able to use our upper body just the same way as we use our legs. All sorts of different ways, omnidirectionally, and to be able to have that strength and versatility through our upper body. And so that's going to require shoulder mobility. And one of these is doing the bridge twist. Okay, so if I go and being able to manipulate our body through all the axes of motion and have the support from our shoulders and be able to move. Another way is this, and so that is looking at opening up this way. And what about whenever we were working with the bands and we were going in this range of motion? Well, look at this. Building up to be able to hold our body weight up in that awkward position, because life is filled with these awkward situations in movement, and that's where people mostly get hurt, is the unexpected angles. And so imagine we're working on our push-ups and we're doing push-ups like this, okay? And then we turn the hands out this way, which is turning the shoulders. And then we go backwards like this. Already a lot of variation there. And then we go like this. And we're doing push-ups like this. And then we're balancing on that arm. Like this. All right. Like I said, we need to have the flexibility and the mobility and the strength in greater ranges of motion, which builds the strength, skill, and sustainability for life. That includes your shoulders. And a lot of people will think that they can't do it, that it's not for them. They'll get stuck, they'll get frustrated, etc. Here's a big piece of why people don't understand how long that it takes for certain things to develop. And a lot of people are walking around with a lot of weak links, and they think they're flexible when they might not be, or they think that just having enough strength is going to cover them whenever it's not. And so imagine someone has, like those military youth academy students, they've got a range of motion that's only here, okay? And they might think that, oh, that's a lot, that's all I need, or I'm super flexible, when they really should be here. And so all of this is strong, all right, no doubt, okay? But when we come to this part, this whole range of motion, there's literally zero strength there, and it's ready to pop. And so how do we build up for that so that we don't have a chronic injury, don't have a catastrophic injury? Well, the main thing is this, like I said, understanding those timelines. It takes over 200 days for connective tissue to transform. And when we're doing things like the first exercise, like I showed, the dowel and the band work, those at high volume, what that's doing is it's taking the blood from the muscle and pulling it into the connective tissue. Just in layman's terminology, the soft tissue, connective tissue doesn't really have its own blood supply. And so it's pulling off of the muscle. And so whenever we do high volume work, there's a lot of blood flow. It's pulling it into the joint, and it's helping with that remodeling and restructuring and rebuilding of the joint that prepares you for lifelong strength, skill, and sustainability. And then muscle mass and strength development happens in a much shorter period of time. So you can get started at the gym and everybody goes nuts January 1st, whenever all those New Year's resolutions kick in, or whenever you see a program that you want to do on your own, a DIY type deal, and then you get started on that, you make a bunch of strength gains within 90 days. That's a 90-day block of strength development. And then has the flexibility and mobility and skill and neurological skills acquisition, all those things been developed? No, they haven't been. So there's all this strength, there's all this muscle, but there's none of these other pieces. And so what happens? Well, the muscle just breaks. There's just a tear in the joint. And that's what you're experiencing whenever you have shoulder issues. And it's in a number of different places, and that's why we talk about a number of different ways that it manifests and a number of different solutions, because everything is different. But whenever you get your shoulders dialed in, then you'll be able to do the things that I'm talking about, doing things like press handstands and human flags and muscle ups. And this is for people that are kids, teens, adults, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. You can do it. I know you can. You just have to believe that you can. Follow the right process. Be okay with having your weak links exposed, and then train like you mean it. I'll see you in the next video and in training soon.